From the very beginning of his career, Virgil Abloh was all about positioning a new era of fashion designers to be heralded as rock stars. He wrote as much in an original piece that he penned for the Brilliance blog in 2007, and if he had been able to jump into a time machine back then to travel to right now, then I think he'd be incredibly proud to discover that he managed to accomplish just that. He not only redefined the idea of a modern fashion designer, but in 2018, he was appointed the head of menswear design at Louis Vuitton, making him the first black designer to ever earn this opportunity. At the age of only 41, Virgil has somehow managed to accomplish more than most of us can ever hope to do in an entire lifetime. But then, in November of 2021, he passed away after a private battle with a very aggressive form of cancer. So, in honor of his life, we're going to take a look back at some of his most remarkable accomplishments and fill you in on the unbelievable but true story of the modern era's most influential designer. Virgil Abloh was born in Rockford, Illinois on September 30th, 1980, to Ghanaian immigrants Ni and Eunice Abloh. As a kid, Virgil grew up deeply immersed in skate culture, but he also loved to play soccer and made some of his earliest artistic impressions with the help of simple tools like paper, wood, and a bottle of spray paint. He told The New Yorker, "People think I'm not crafty, but when I was a kid, I loved making paper airplanes. Balsa wood planes, I also have a very steady hand. And then graffiti, obviously." He was also an avid DJ over the course of his life and would play festivals, fashion parties, and rap gigs, even opening sets for Travis Scott during his Bird's Eye tour. But music was never really meant to be a career path for Virgil. It was only a means to achieve inner peace. His career ambitions were a little different. Now, it may surprise you to find out that Virgil never formally studied fashion. Instead, he majored in engineering at the University of Wisconsin-Madison before moving on and earning a master's degree in architecture from the Illinois Institute of Technology. Rumor is that the day of Virgil's graduation from the program in 2002, he skipped his final critique to take a meeting with Kanye West's then manager, John Monopoly. Soon afterwards, Virgil and Kanye began working with one another. This relationship with Kanye would change the course of Virgil's life and set both men on a course for Paris in 2009, where Kanye would sign a deal for a sneaker collab with fashion powerhouse Louis Vuitton.
I ask myself this question, and you can ask yourself the same. Who do you know? Who do you know with two thumbs in their own Louis shoe? This guy.
Shortly thereafter, Kanye and Virgil became the biggest story of the season after a photo of them taking over Fashion Week went viral. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't think it can be understated just the extent that the chokehold this picture had on every fashion kid growing up at the time. I mean, this picture is legendary for that alone. I mean, right after that, Virgil was already getting satirized on television series like South Park. When asked later on in life why he thought both he and Kanye were able to make such a big splash that week, Virgil told GQ, "Streetwear wasn't on everyone's radar. But the sort of chatter at dinners after shows was like, fashion needs something new. It's stagnant. What's the new thing going to be?" That was the timeline of which I was crafting my ideas. Soon afterwards, Virgil and Kanye both accepted a 6-month internship at Fendi, earning only around $500 a month, but learning the business of fashion design inside and out. By the following year, Virgil was named the creative director of Donda, Kanye's creative incubator, where he would help turn Yeezy's ideas into reality with the help of his magical laptop that was once described by Pusha T as, quote, "a library of everything that was aesthetically beautiful and relevant." It was while working with Donda that Virgil would shepherd the artistic direction of albums like Watch the Throne, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and Yeezus, helping design not only the album artwork, but music videos and live performance stage design as well. He was literally doing a little bit of everything. But Virgil wasn't content simply being one of the two major creative forces behind Donda. He also wanted to create his own thing. So he established a creative collective known as Bin Trill that quickly evolved into a brand called Pyrex Vision. Originally conceived as a type of an art project with clothes, he introduced the concept through a moody piece titled "A Team with No Sport." A short time later, Pyrex Vision would evolve once again, this time into the designer brand Off-White. At first, the rest of the fashion world was more than happy to categorize this new brand as streetwear, but Virgil was adamant that wasn't his intention. He told GQ, "This isn't a streetwear brand. This isn't a contemporary brand. This is designer. Just the same way that XYZ are designer. Where you say their name, it carries this whole esteem and emotion to it." Looking to firmly establish himself as such, Virgil would bring his runway shows to Paris and even applied for the LVMH prize for young designers. for which he would become a finalist in 2015.
I'm a person who's like rooted in creativity and sort of sharing and the sort of like global connectedness, and to me it's like the epitome of that sentiment.
He may not have won the grand prize that year, but just 3 short years later, and Louis Vuitton would be the ones coming to him, naming him their creative director in 2018, making him the very first black man to hold that position in the company's history. Then in 2019 came the very first signs that maybe not everything was 100% right with Virgil, when he finally took some time off of his killer schedule, citing exhaustion as the primary cause. And while he may have spent more time in Illinois that year than he had in a long time, that doesn't mean he was any less busy. During the course of 2019 and 2020, Virgil not only opened a major exhibit at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago titled Figures of Speech.
My fine art is about demystifying and communicating, again, to a tourist and a purist. These powerful, loaded images are, in some ways, more impactful to society than, quote unquote, art or, anything else.
He also established a postmodern scholarship fund by raising $1 million to encourage black students to participate in the world of fashion. Then, this past May, he helped design Spike Lee's outfit for his role as grand jury president at the Cannes Film Festival, making Spike the talk of the town thanks to an incredible pink-toned suit. Finally, in July, Virgil was promoted to a new position within LVMH that would allow him to work across the group's 75 different brands, officially making him the most powerful black executive in the most powerful luxury group in the entire world. It was the inevitable culmination to a remarkable career at the very embodiment of everything that Virgil had been trying to accomplish throughout his life. Unfortunately, it came only months before the end. Even as Virgil was battling cardiac angiosarcoma, a rare and extremely aggressive form of cancer, he was still making plans to travel to Miami for a Louis Vuitton men's fashion show, but he wouldn't live to see it. Instead, on November 28th, his family posted a moving tribute to the man on his Instagram page, informing the world of his passing. As they themselves posted out in their tribute post, Virgil would often say, "Everything I do is for the 17-year-old version of myself, believing deeply in the power of art to inspire future generations." Few men have the conviction to truly live by the words they preach, but Virgil Abloh was most definitely one of those individuals. He's proven to be an inspiration to an entire generation of designers, and his influence will reverberate for decades to come.
I don't feel responsible to a preconceived notion of art. I feel more responsible to a community that is trying to change the tide, or to sort of live in an optimistic society that art, design, music, and fashion actually change the world for the better.
Virgil is survived by his wife Shannon, his children Lo and Gray, as well as his sister Edwina and his parents. Our deepest well wishes go out to them all during this trying time. They can rest assured knowing that Virgil will not soon be forgotten, which is a testament not only to the man he is, but his accomplishments, and the people who helped make him who he is. Rest in power and long live Virgil Abloh.